Hello and welcome to Talk Around Town. I'm Stephen Chatwin. In the studio with me today is LaTanya Terrones. LaTanya is fairly new to the city and serves as a senior management analyst in our housing department. LaTanya, welcome.
Well, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you will, your background and what you do here with the city and how you ended up here with us.
I have been working in public service, specifically in housing, for about 15 years.
Okay.
So my entire career has been working at different housing authorities throughout the Bay Area, where I've assisted with delivering services specifically to low-income individuals and families through the housing departments. Kind of worked my way through the ranks, worked as a supervisor, took a short stint in economic development, which was very interesting.
Yeah.
And then I came here to the city of Fairfield. So I've been here for about 9 months now, working specifically, most specifically, as the CDBG administrator for the city of Fairfield.
Okay.
And then I also work with all of the programs in the housing services department, assisting with multiple projects, as well as making sure that we have a cohesive department, ensuring we have solid policies and procedures, and just making sure that we're able to deliver those services in the most compliant, effective, and efficient way.
Wonderful. Now, we stole you from Vallejo, is that correct?
That is correct.
Anytime we can steal great employees from Vallejo, I'm happy.
Well, I'm definitely happy to be here.
Now, you have a 17-year-old daughter who just got a scholarship playing softball, is that correct?
That is correct. She's going to be playing for San Diego Christian College starting next year.
Oh, that's exciting. So you're a proud mama?
Yes.
With
absolutely.
2 other kids. You've got 3 kids, and wonderful. You were talking a little bit about housing services. Tell us a little bit about your role in housing services, if you would.
So again, mostly focusing on CDBG and compliance, and specifically the CDBG program, the Community Development Block Grant Program, making sure that we're compliant with those funding grants and distributing those grants. Also, I assist at the Housing Authority as well. That's where the majority of my housing background comes from.
Okay.
So I do provide assistance when there is assistance needed. I work with the staff over there, making sure that there's compliance. And then I work on multiple projects, whatever it is, my director needs for me to do at that time, making sure we're looking at budgets and things like that.
So tell me a little bit about the Housing Authority that you mentioned. You've got a lot of experience there. You've got a background in that. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about the Housing Authority and some of the other housing services there that you've worked in. You've talked about CDBG, and I'm going to ask you about that a little bit more later on, but what about the Housing Authority? What's that for, and what does that do for us?
Definitely. So the Housing Authority essentially provides vouchers. It's a subsidized housing program where we're able to subsidize rents for low-income individuals and families.
Okay.
And so through that process, generally, when the waiting list is open, families are able to get on that waiting list. And through an eligibility process, they're able to receive subsidized rents to assist them as they go on. And the Housing Authority will continue to pay as long as those families are eligible for the program. And
Okay.
That program is funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development as well.
So a lot of it is being the go-between between some federal and state dollars that are available and making sure that those are distributed out to those that need it, and then managing and administering those programs.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
It's a wonderful program. The city of Fairfield specifically has about 886 vouchers. And some of that is like tenant-based vouchers where it moves with the tenant.
Okay.
And then there's also project-based. So the Housing Authority has contracted with some low-income apartment communities throughout the city, where those specific vouchers and that assistance stays with the unit. So the person may move on, but that particular unit will continue to receive subsidies.
Okay, so how does that voucher work? If somebody is given a voucher, explain that briefly, if you would, how that works.
So essentially, the families are required to pay at least 30% of their income towards the rent.
Okay.
And then it could fluctuate based upon their income or based upon some other factors and formulas that HUD has kind of put out. And so whatever the tenant doesn't pay, the Housing Authority pays the remaining balance.
Okay. So we have a lot of great community partners here in Fairfield. Can you identify some of the ones that you're working with, and why are they so important to what we do?
Currently, I'm working with plenty. Shelter Inc., Shelter Solano, both actually. Shelter Inc. is the big umbrella, and then Shelter Solano, the smaller shelter here in the city of Fairfield. That's one of the programs that we fund through our Housing Services Department, working with programs like PAL, the Fairfield Police Activities League, the Levin, Meals on Wheels. These organizations are able to deliver services, and they're able to touch the actual community, and they're the eyes and ears of the community, so that we know what the needs are, and they're able to deliver that information back to us so that we know how to assist the community with funding and just to kind of know what's going on and where the needs are. The organizations that we work with are instrumental in being able to make sure that we're able to meet the needs of the community. And I think citywide, not just through housing services, but the partnerships that we create, they're the heartbeat of the community. As we as public servants are able to get out there, we can't touch everyone, we can't do everything, and so they're the heartbeats, and to be able to push out what is needed.
Maybe one of the most important things I guess we do is developing the relationships with those other organizations out there, and helping to work together with them and to provide to them resource and to let them do what they do so well.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. Yeah, without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do.
Wonderful.
For sure.
We're going to take a quick break, then we'll be right back with LaTanya.
Hey neighbor, what are you doing?
Has this light always been broken like this?
I hadn't noticed. We should report it to get it fixed.
Report it? How do we do that?
With the My Fairfield CA app.
App?
Yeah, you just click on the issue you're experiencing, fill out the information, and it sends a report.
So it's the My Fairfield
CA app. Here. Actually, I have a card. You should have it.
Thanks.
Get the My Fairfield CA app. Pass it on.
And we're back talking with LaTanya about housing services. LaTanya, let's talk now a little bit, if we can, about Community Development Block Grants, or CDBG. This is an important funding opportunity the city has tapped into. Tell us a little bit about this and what kinds of things are we able to fund through CDBG?
So the Community Development Block Grant is funded by HUD. The city receives an annual allocation based on a formula. Generally, the city receives about $840,000, $850,000 a year. And the CDBG Block Grant program is meant to kind of create and build up communities through community development, through things like affordable housing, public services, and economic opportunities. Through the Block Grant program, we're able to fund some of the services that I previously talked about. Meals on Wheels, to provide hot meals to seniors. PAL, to provide services to the youth, or even to Public Works, to help with creating ADA street ramps, or, there's areas that need additional sidewalks. Things like that are able to be funded through the CDBG program. Annually, once we get our allocation, we open an application period. So the CDBG application period opened on November the 1st for nonprofit organizations who are interested in applying to be able to serve the low-income community.
Okay.
That application period will close on December the 2nd. So while that's open, we're expecting, so far we have 120 registered organizations. So we're really, really excited about that. Once we receive those applications, we have the CDBG Advisory Committee that reviews the applications, they score them. So we look for complete transparency in terms of funding the CDBG. So the community are the ones who decide who gets funded and how much.
Okay.
And so that keeps it open, and that's how we're able to get the community involvement through this process.
Perfect.
All the way through the end.
Love that. Let's talk about eviction protection for a minute.
Yes.
Since this is a big issue, especially now as we continue to struggle with this pandemic, we are partnered with several agencies for that. What can you tell us about these programs that we've got in place?
Yes, absolutely. So through the CDBG program, HUD gave us money for COVID-related issues. And so the city decided to have an eviction prevention program. And so we partnered with agencies like Shelter Inc., Legal Services of Northern California, and Project Sentinel to deliver eviction prevention. So, we have a rental assistance where if you haven't paid your rent or you haven't been able to pay your rent because of COVID, we'll pay 100% of that for up to 6 months. Or if you need legal advice or need legal assistance because the landlord filed an eviction, or if you just need some mediation or counseling with your landlord. All of those services are provided and are funded by the CDBG program. And they'll continue to be open, and we're expecting that at least for the next year or two, we'll continue to provide that assistance to the community.
Important program
Yes,
right there. This
absolutely.
and critical right now.
Absolutely.
LaTanya, who is your department director there that you work for, he recently announced to the City Council a 5-year plan. What can you tell us about that 5-year plan, and how do we continue to move forward with that?
So the interesting part, the 5-year plan that he presented is for the Housing Authority.
Okay.
And so that talks about the goals and the expectations of the Housing Authority for the next 5 years and what their plan will be to execute. And what we will also be bringing forward very soon is another 5-year plan. That will be our CDBG 5-year plan as well. And so there is cohesiveness between the Housing Authority 5-year plan and then the CDBG 5-year plan.
Okay.
We use the same market analysis, the same needs assessment to determine what the needs are. Although we're delivering separate services, the needs are still the same. And so we just want to make sure that as we bring forward the CDBG 5-year plan and the Housing Authority 5-year plan, that we're able to meet the needs of the community as a whole.
And they really support each other, I guess. These are not
Absolutely.
two different things that have their own. They really coexist together.
Yes,
Right.
they do. They coexist together. As a matter of fact, in the consolidated plan, which we're currently working on, it asks tons of questions about the Housing Authority and how those services will be delivered. And it analyzes how the Housing Authority is delivering those services. And so we just continue to work together to make sure that as one department, although it's made up of multiple different divisions, we're one department moving in the same direction.
Wonderful. I'm going to ask you a final question. You've been doing this type of work for some time. You got sidetracked a little bit for a while doing economic development, but now you're back doing this. What do you like most about this job? Why is it so critical? What's the satisfaction you get about coming to work every day and working in this kind of an environment?
Absolutely. Housing is a basic human need. And so many of us take that particular thing for granted. And, being able to help individuals that may not know that the resources are there, that may not know what's available to them, me being able to provide that information and to assist them, to help them along their way in their self-sufficiency, that for me is what's most important about doing this job.
You see the results. You get to see how this touches the lives of people who are most vulnerable
Absolutely.
right now. And
Absolutely.
you get to go home at night knowing that you had a part of helping them out.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. LaTanya, thank you so much for joining us in studio today and for talking with us about what you're passionate about and what is so important to this city.
Thank you for having me.
If you would like to know more about the city's housing department and the services that we offer, please visit fairfield.ca.gov/housing for more information. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on Talk Around Town.